Okay, here is my factory 302 head. Now in my rebuild kit, I got 3 different pieces for valve stem seals. I got the umbrella seal, which is pretty self-explanatory, and these two. Now these are different sizes. I don't know if the camera's picking it up very well, but this one is a little bit smaller inside diameter than this one. Now there's a few different ways that I've seen people take these apart, but I am just going to show you guys two, I guess I should say, ways I've seen to do it. Now, I've never nicely tore one of these apart. I've done it like in a junkyard with a socket and a hammer and just binged them off, but I've never torn these apart with the intention of putting them back together. So this is a first time for me, but it should be pretty easy. I picked up one of these. You can get these at Harbor Freight for, I think this thing was like $9 when I picked it up, which isn't anything really, but the jaws are kind of, they're different lengths. They're offset, and they're that way because you have to take these and lock them on your spring here. So I'll try to get this locked in and I'll show you. Now when you do this, you want to make sure you have these teeth clamped in as low on the spring as they'll go. Now, this is incredibly simple. It's really user-friendly. Make sure your teeth are locked in. Put a little bit of pressure here. I know there's a spring here, but I like to put a little bit of pressure until you get it locked down to where it'll hold itself in place. Then you have to hold it because it's going to want to spin on you. If you're using one of these style of spring compressors, you can't hold your valve, so it's going to move a little bit on you. So you have to hold the valve up from underneath. Hold your valve up and get it to break loose like that. Now that was a bit more aggressive than it should have been, but since we're to this point, take a little magnet and just pop your keeper. That one came out. This one's kind of stubborn. Come on, buddy. Like that. Now these are a conical shape, and they have this big groove right here in the center. So they have to go back in the same way they came out. They're a little narrower down here than they are up here, so you'll know which way to put them back together. So once you have your keepers out, you can just go ahead and loosen this guy back up. And it's going to come all the way out with you. Take that out. Your keeper. And your valve spring. That's it. Now, take your umbrella seal up off of there. And that one's pretty crusty, it's pretty hard. I'm hitting on my 2x4 here. Hold on. And that is pretty much it. You just pull your valve right out of there. See how dirty the seat is? We're going to fix that today. At this point, take and flip the head over. I'm just gonna clean these a little bit. It looks better, but it's still bad. You got a little rag in here, and that's all. Now, clean my seat up a little bit. And the seat doesn't look terrible by any means. I mean, it's got some crusty in there and stuff, but it doesn't look terrible. But since we're in this far and we are doing a full rebuild, I do want to go ahead and lap these. Now this, it's pretty easy to do. And I did, you can buy this stuff here at your local parts store for like $4 or $5. And then you get these. These you can just pick up at any parts store for, you know, $8 or $10. And they just suction cup to the bottom of your valve like that. And that's all. So that's one of the ways you can do this. The other way is put your valve all the way back down in there and take a piece of rubber hose, stick it on this and hose clamp it, and then stick it in a drill and run your drill in and out, which is faster, but I'm going to do mine by hand. Now this engine didn't have them on here. All this one has before is these old umbrella seals, but these new seals go on there, go in place. We're not going to put those in until we're done lapping, so let's flip this head back over. Take your valve, take a little bit of lapping compound, put a couple drops right there on your seat. Drop your valve in place. Just take it like you're starting a fire. Roll back and forth a couple times, and then lift your valve up to get that valve compound moving back down in the groove. Now it's up to you how long you do this for, but I'm going to go ahead and pull my valve now and check my seat and see how we're looking. Doesn't matter, clean rag, dirty rag, doesn't matter. Now the seal, or the seat on the valve, looking pretty decent. We can go a little more. You guys, I don't know if you can still see the little bit of blackened still in there. Clean the seat up on the head. Now the seat on the head actually looks very good. It's a nice uniform finish all the way around, but I'm going to go ahead and lap one more round because of the valve. Have a glance at that one. I have to go out and get some brushes and clean the inside of that valve guide. Now, That looks pretty good. Because I don't know for sure, since these have the umbrella seals in there. I'm going to set the blue one with the taper on it already on the valve seal without the tapered edge. The black one without the taper, I'll just slide right down on this one, because that's what we're going to do. We're just going to go ahead and run the black ones here and the blue ones here. I don't know if it's right or not, but I only have 8 of these umbrella seals, 8 of these, and 8 of these. So I'm just going to go for it and see what happens, I guess. Now, you do need a 1/2-inch socket. Deep well, shallow, doesn't matter. And your little persuader. Now I'm going to take just a little bit of oil and run around the top of that seal. I got a little zealous there. It's kind of everywhere now. Just to kind of help this get done in there all the way. So set it on there. Take your socket. See how it just stopped? That thing, I'm going to say, is installed. Take our valve. Since I've cleaned out the shaft and everything, put a little oil on this guy. Slide it in. Lay it back down. Valve stem seal is in place. Valve is in place. Now I'm going to take my spring here and just wipe it off a little bit. Take a little oil, drop it down inside here on that where the spring's going to ride. I don't know if you guys seen that or not, but right on there. Put the spring in. Take our keeper. Bring this little dude back in. Okay. Now bring your keepers back in. And just, you can point them in here with a magnet or a magnetic screwdriver or something, or you can just drop them in with your fingers like I'm doing. Once you have them both in place, so they're both all the way in there, and you'll know when they're in because they sit in this little groove right here. Once you have them in, just back off your spring compressor. And there you have it. That valve is done. It's been lapped. It's got new stem seals. Now this is the second option available from Harbor Freight. It is faster than the first way I showed you. It's supposed to be faster anyway. Because it clamps on up here. Because it clamps on here with these little access holes. And then this side pushes on your valve. So you clamp it on. Poke it in there a little bit. Come in with your magnet. Oh man, my keeper's in there. Pull your keeper, and then you just back it back out. This way is so much faster. and easier. That guy's already done. It's a little more expensive. That tool, like this one here, like I said, was like $9, and the big one was like $65, something like that. So it is a little bit more expensive, but in my mind, it's worth it because it's faster. So go with whichever one you want. They both work. I can't say just as good as the other because that would be a lie, but choose whichever one you want. Just go with whatever you can afford, I guess. Spray. Come in here with your rag and wipe all your debris out. And I also just noticed that my umbrella seals are 2 different lengths. My intake and my exhaust are 2 different lengths. So that's good to know as well. Valve is out. Now, take my brush, run it in and out of there a couple of times. Now the guide is clear, and I'll just continue lapping. You only have to do these one at a time if you want to, but you can disassemble the entire head at one time and just organize everything, because the valve, the spring, the keepers, everything has to go back in the hole that they came out of. But you can disassemble the whole thing and just have a totally empty head. A lot like the one on my shoulders. Brother. It's official. I am an idiot. Come to find out, these are intake. These are supposed to be on the exhaust valve. And I'm this far done, and now I have to take every one of my exhaust ports back apart and swap over to the umbrella seals. So I just added like an extra hour to all of this shit today. So we're back to square 2. So the first way I showed you was with these, and it's slow, but it works well. The second way, I've got my valve in, I've got a chunk of hose clamped to it, stuck to a drill, and just run it at low speeds. I'm going to tighten the clamp up a little bit because it's not holding the drill bit. Now you just run it at low speeds. Some people say that's faster, but I feel like it took the same amount of time to get it all set up and going. And when you get to a point where you feel like you can stop and have a look-see, this is why I don't like this part, because you have so much extra stuff you have to undo just to get the valve back out checked. Did a pretty good job of milkshaking the rubbing compound though. Turned out pretty decent. Seat in the head. Looks pretty fine. I'm happy with that. Now, just put the head back together. Well guys, that's going to wrap up the the valve job and changing the valve stem seals. It was kind of a learning curve, but you know, 3 or 4 valves in, I kind of figured out the easier way to do it, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, considering I've never done that before, it turned out pretty swell. So thanks for stopping by today. Thanks for hanging out and watching my video. If you're not already, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and all that fancy stuff, you know, the YouTube stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna get off here so I can go clean up and get some din. So remember, guys, your dreams aren't gonna work unless you do. So remember, there's no growth in comfort. So get out of your comfort zone, do something you've never done before, and learn something. Goodbye.